Hey everyone, Steve here from Big Head Tech, and I feel better. Back from a trip to Canada, ready to do some more videos. So I did miss a few releases here, and I do apologize. But there should be a lot of content coming pretty fast. I'm still gonna do 2 releases a week. And by the way, I'm working on upgrading some things. I might additionally put more effort into better audio solution, better filling solution. So if you're actually looking to sell a nice DSLR or something that shoots 4K, has auto ISO and everything, email info@bigheadtechnologysolutions.com and maybe might be able to work some out. Now, this video, I'm going to say is sponsored by Be Quiet, and I'm going to explain why. It's one thing when a manufacturer reaches out and said, hey, review this product. I get that sometimes. But it's a whole other thing when I reach out to say, hey, I want to do something, what do you have? And they say, well, you've already reviewed this, so why don't you take a look at this? And they sent me an A+ tier power supply. So looking right here, this is on the Linus Tech Tip forums, you can see that the Straight Power 11 shows up as an A+ tier power supply. And the cool thing is this is going to the Disabled Veteran project that I'm working on. And Be Quiet has actually shipped another product, which should be up soon, probably next week or so, which we'll be reviewing as well. Also slated for that project. And we have other sponsors as well also sending products, which I'm really excited about. I still need more products. Maybe I'll put it in the description below of stuff that I could use. But big shout out to Be Quiet for stepping up. It's actually one of the marketing companies they work with, which they've asked to remain silent, which is fine. But they make great products. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the Straight Power 11 550 watt fully modular. Yeah, fully modular power. I just opened it. Fully modular power supply from Be Quiet. Let's take a look at what it says in the back here. We have, you can't get much closer than that, 45.8 amps on the 12 volt rail. Total 550 watts. And then it lays out everything and exactly how long everything is. So all the cables are, I guess, 550 millimeters and then 150 ad per each. So we have the 4+4, we have two 6+2s, we have SATA with Molex, SATA, and then a Molex to floppy drive. I guess if there's one person that didn't get that floppy drive for an A+ power supply, you'd probably have an uprising. I know, right? So regardless, I guess it's better to include it than not, since it's only an adapter. Okay, get her opened up here. So you have a little user manual. To be 100% honest, it's for me, it's a power supply. I don't know how much you'd actually need from a user manual standpoint. Let's go ahead and get this out. Full on plastic here. So we got the unit. We have the cable. We have some modular cables and some more modular cables. Now, let's go ahead and get the box out of here. Take a look at a couple things. I always love looking at the cable first. Got some zip ties and screws. Pretty standard for a power supply this level. This is definitely thicker gauge wire. Let me actually read it here. It's rated up to 300 volts, 50 degrees Celsius, 18 gauge. So to be expected with a higher end power supply, we have these nice all black sleeve cables. This is nothing against Be Quiet, but this is the standard in my opinion. I've even seen some like $60 power supplies, ones that aren't modular still have this. So this to me is a standard. I don't need anything more than this, but if it's less than this, then it's getting a bad mark for me. So they definitely held up the standard there. And then, open up this guy here. What's really crazy is how small this power supply is. So, tape measure here. We are not in metric, which doesn't help. Oh, here we go, sorry. We are 160 millimeters. And then the fan itself is 135, so there's 1.5 centimeters, so essentially 30 millimeters of clearance on each side. So it's relatively small considering how high end of a unit it is. The only thing that kind of stinks is these are not standard like with what EVGA and Corsair do. So finding aftermarket sleeve cables might be a little bit more difficult unless you want to go with sleeved extensions. But to be honest, that's not really important when you have the standard black sleeve cables. To me, that works perfectly fine. So doing some reading here, I'm just going to read some of the things that it says. So this is a Silent Wings 3, 135 millimeter fan. It says virtually inaudible. To be honest, from my experience, if this spins south of 1,000 RPM, that's probably to be very true. 80 plus gold efficiency gives about 93% under peak. Japanese capacitors are rated to 105 degrees Celsius. 5-year manufacturer warranty. It says multi-GPU support with two PCI Express connectors. That would honestly depend on what power supplies you're running in. But it does say peak 600 watts. I did read that. So it's saying that you could easily, this is just such a high-end power supply that if you're a little bit over, it should be fine. That being said, I would recommend their 650 watt if you know you're going to be over. I think what the too long didn't read is, if you're a little over, it's probably fine. If you didn't plan for it, that's kind of what I would take for that. So there's really no testing I can do on this. But to be honest, given its A+ rating from the power supply tier list, just the German engineering quality that Be Quiet's always delivered me time and time again, I can say if this is the kind of power supply that you would want, well, I don't know. Let's wrap it up and see if I can honestly say, we're going to give me a few minutes to decide on that one. So just because Be Quiet sponsored this video and sponsoring a future video essentially, doesn't mean I'm going to say buy it. And I'm going to give a little bit more information about that. As a 550 watt power supply, this is one of the best ones you can buy on the market, bar none. It's an A+ rated on the current power supply tier list. Here's my problem with recommending this specific unit. For $10 more, you can get a 650 watt variant. That to me is worth it because a lot of hungry GPUs are pushing 250 watts. Like my GPU puts like 275, and my CPU, if I overclock, would be close to 200. That would be a little much with all the RGB and the pump and everything I have for me to be comfortable. I don't like to always be near peak. I like to be in that 80% range personally, so I would get a 650 watt. That being said, for $119.99, I think the 650 watt is a fantastic buy, just because if you're looking for a high quality 650 watt power supply, that is going to be the one to get. If you look previously at the power supply tier, links can be in the description below, most of them in that tier are going to be a bit more expensive than what these are. If you jump up to 750, it's only another like $9. 850 does jump to about $40, and 1,000 watts right at 200. So I think the Straight Power 11 series is a series to buy. I'm just a little bit hesitant with how well priced the 650 and 750 watt variants are to buy. I would say if you find this for $100 or less, it is a steal, and it's a really good value. At 110, I think Be Quiet's hurt themselves with selling 100 watts more, which I think is going to be the sweet spot for most of my reviewers, for $10 more. So that's kind of the too long didn't read. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a link to this one on Amazon, and you'll be able to look at the 650, 750, 850, and 1000. My recommendations, the 650 and 750, is I think they're the perfect value. But again, if you find this one for 100 or less, I think this has some good value too. Big shout out to Be Quiet. Thank you very much for making this video possible. If you liked the video, like it, dislike it, dislike, leave a comment, get subscribed. Buy one of these in the description below, as it helps me out a lot. And as always, this is Steve from Big Head Tech, and I'll see y'all later on down the road.